Good evening, one and all present here. I take immense pleasure to announce that MindCraft and EQ4Peace Worldwide Corporation USA has jointly organized the session on emotional intelligence along with Telangana Psychologists Association, Hyderabad. And myself, Dr. Pratiksha Rajani, and I am the CEO of MindCraft. Along with me, I do have Dr. Jayan and Mr. Matt, who both work for MindCraft webinar series. Till this date, we have provided many sessions related on mental health regarding all sort of mental health issues, peer pressure, ADHD, clinical hypnosis, relaxation, transactional analysis, OCD, many of them. We are already, the main motto of MindCraft webinar is to provide awareness regarding mental health issues and to reach out to maximum number of people. Along with that, today we have Mr. Matt with us, and we are very grateful to Mr. Matt for joining us. He is our association, we are associated with Mr. Matt for EQ4Peace, and we three try to reach out to maximum number of people through this session. So once again, I welcome Mr. Matt. Jayan sir, I'm very much thankful to the Telangana Association for providing us the opportunity to conduct the session on on mental health and emotional intelligence. So thankful to you all, and I warmly welcome all the participants here. So over to you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes, Sundar ma'am. Continue.
Thank you, Pratiksha ma'am. It was an immense pleasure. We are inviting Mr. Matt. Good morning, Matt. After teaching deep emotional intelligence workshop for over 35 years, Matt has touched thousands through his humor, wisdom, and loving insight. Most people have never heard the concept of being smart with our heart, mind, and feelings. So Matt has it mission to share EQ with as many people as possible. People are dying quite literally to know what we know about EQ. Understanding and managing our inner world is no longer just a nice to have skill. It is a set of urgent need to have survival coping skills that must be made available to all ages and educational levels from preschool to PhD. Learning to understand, manage, and enjoy our thoughts, feelings, decisions, and action is the pathway to inner peace, interpersonal peace, and social peace, ultimately leading to global peace. Please join Matt as we explore one of the most relevant and practical subjects there is, the last great adventure on earth, our journey into and through our own inner world, and then let's share that we know with the many who do not know. Thank you. We welcome you, sir, to India.
Sir, kindly unmute.
Okay, am I on?
Yes, yes.
Should I go?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, sorry I didn't get the end of it. Yes, thank you for the introductions. Very nice words for me. And I'm excited that you're excited. I'm glad that everyone's here. I'm glad that MindCraft is putting this on for us, with us. And as was mentioned, it's one of my missions in life is to get the point out across to people about emotional intelligence. I do want to say right up front is that we're calling it positive mental health, right? And the title is positive mental health. And that's kind of a new term because mental health by itself usually has kind of negative connotations, right? That that it's problems, it's issues, you know, you're going down basically. And that is true. And a lot of people are doing that. We need to know how to deal with that. What I do want to know, what I also want to say though, is that we can not only go from negative to 0, we can go better. We can do better than that. We can go better than that. We can go from negative to 0 and keep going. So we can be better off actually because of and in spite of our pain and trauma and all kinds of stuff if we work it right with emotional intelligence. So that's my point. That's why I'm jumping up and down about it and excited about that. And I'm trying to, you know, teach the whole world about this whole thing. As was mentioned, we have a nonprofit, it's fairly new, and we are called EQ4Peace, EQ4Peace, and we are working toward getting emotional intelligence into schools everywhere and to schools or teachers, bosses, and parents, teachers, bosses, and parents, one level up, teach them, show them, so they can show everybody else, right? And therapists, psychologists, definitely fit into that realm, which teachers, bosses, I should say more, I should add that in there, is helping professionals, right? Because you don't actually fit in teachers, bosses, or parents. Maybe, I mean, probably parent, but anyway, I'll have to add that in there. So on that note, I'll start my PowerPoint and here we go. Well, maybe it would be good to start from the beginning. All right, there we go. Boom. Okay, so let's talk. Oh, 14th. No, that's strong. See right there, I started off bad. Let's talk about how emotional intelligence can help in psychology and in mental health, in positive mental health. First is always self-awareness. First, mindfulness, consciousness, whatever, self-awareness, whatever you want to call it. But we can't do anything until we're aware, right? We can't do anything until we're aware. So that's first, always. Second, I'll talk a little bit about how we started all this in early childhood and go up to the present. We'll look at EQ. What is emotional intelligence? What is EQ? One of the most important things I wanted to say in this whole thing is this thing called emotional responsibility, which is about us taking control and taking responsibility for our own thoughts and our own feelings. I think that is the key. I think that is the key, the whole difference between whether we do well or we don't do well. Literally, with our emotional intelligence, if we do well or we don't do well is based on whether we take responsibility for our thoughts and our feelings. If we think that they did it to us, that it's the government or the pandemic or my mom or, you know, the neighbor or the government, you know, what, somebody's doing it to me and I don't have any choice and I can't control what I'm feeling and thinking because they're making me angry or they're hurting my feelings. Nobody ever makes you angry, actually. You do. And if you can take that emotional responsibility, it makes all the difference. If you don't, yikes, you're kind of whiner, blamer, victim, sort of. So safety is the key. Safety is a key, whether we're talking about schoolwork or home, parents, bosses, or teachers. Safety. And it starts with us being safe with ourselves, which I will talk more about a lot because that's really important, that we are okay with our own emotions, that we are okay with our thoughts. We, our society, yours and ours, are not too okay with having emotions. You probably know, especially guys, they just, it's not okay. And it's, we get shitted on and people criticize us and put us down and you get these ugly looks and you know, you just better not feel very much. You just better be kind of, hold the line, right? And so that doesn't help. So we then pick that up as kids and we grow with that. And then we think we're not allowed to do any of that stuff. And so we're not even safe to ourselves. And that's not okay. Positive mental health starts with empathy, emotional control, interpersonal communications, making relationships, creating creating a support group for yourself, people you can actually talk to. One of my main takeaways I was just writing while we were getting on here is that in particular, what I'm trying to say is learn about yourself, learn about your emotions, learn about what's going on inside of you, and share it, because if we know some stuff about emotions, that's great. Most people don't. We don't learn about it in school. We don't talk about it with our parents because they didn't know. And we sure better not do it at work. So if we now have some information about emotional intelligence and how incredible it is and how much it can change our lives, and it's free, completely free inside of all of us, then that's actually a good thing for us. If we can create support in our lives, if we can find people that we can talk to at a real level, whether you go real deep or you go not so deep, that's up to you in the moment, if you will, and how your trust issues are and how much you open your heart and how much you close your heart, right? But having people that are safe to be able to talk to is just some hugest thing, and guess what? We're back to, it's your responsibility to make that happen. It's your responsibility to make that happen. If you're, as a kid under 18, I guess, your parents try to help out, and they the kids are actually having the hardest time with this. But as soon as when you start growing up, it's now your deal. It's your job to be responsible. And usually, hint, the way that works is usually about you giving first. You listen to people first. You make it safe for other people and yourself first. And then they go, wow, I can talk to you. They can talk to you. You can talk to them. Nobody's criticizing each other. Nobody's putting each other down. We are just talking. We're being, we're allowing, we're loving. That's part of love, in my opinion. And that's great. So I got a bunch of takeaways at the end. They're pretty new. And so I'm excited to add that to our class. I asked Diane to make this class 90 minutes instead of just 60, because I always run out of time and don't have enough, and go at the end. I go talk really fast, as you can tell, because I'm scared about not getting everything done, and I never get anything done. All of it does. So anyway, so we don't learn about emotional education. We don't learn about our emotions in schools. We don't. And Aristotle said, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Well, that's a bit much, but you get the idea. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education. We learn good cognitive left brain cool stuff in school. That's a good thing. But we don't learn about ourselves, about our emotions, about our heart, about our feelings, about what's going on inside of us. And I was really, really disappointed with my education, actually. I went all the way through college, and I learned lots of good stuff, but I didn't know that much about me. And it was pretty painful, actually. I had some troubles. I did. I still do, actually, honestly. We're talking about mental health stuff, and if you think you don't have any mental health issues, that's all right. I guess you can think that if you want to, but there's stuff that bugs me. There's stuff that I have issues, and I have issues still. And even after working on it, I'm 61 years old, and I've been working on this stuff for almost 40 years now, and I still have issues. God, jeez. It's hard not to judge myself sometimes for that, but that's what we're trying not to do, right? Left brain judging, that's a thought. A judgment is a thought, right? And it messes up our feelings. So I'm trying not to do that. So anyway, I wish I would have learned more about my heart when I was growing up. It was very painful for me, and things were not that bad, but I didn't know what to do with my emotions. I didn't know. I have no idea. My parents had no idea. My dad was in the United States Air Force, and he was a ranking officer, became colonel, full colonel, worked at the Pentagon. Do you think they deal with their emotions a lot? No, they don't. And he's kind, loving, wonderful, both my parents, but they just didn't know. They had no idea. I asked my dad not too long ago, what happened? How come he didn't teach me about emotions? he's like, what, me? What? He said, quote, I wouldn't know emotion. I wouldn't know a feeling if it slapped me upside the head. He's like, I don't know about my emotions. How am I supposed to teach you? And he goes, you knew my dad. My dad was his dad was a tough in immigrant attorney. He became an attorney, self-taught completely. Then he went to school at night and paid for himself and got through the whole thing. He was a tough little guy. We have some mafia in our background, in our family, and they were in Brooklyn, New York. He's like, you didn't deal with emotions. So you get the idea. Wow. So my point is, not poor me, my point is we got to learn it ourselves. We have to figure it out ourselves. We have to learn it ourselves. We have to practice ourselves. We have to create support by ourselves. We have to make it safe by ourselves. We're just making this stuff up. I'm not kidding. We're just making this stuff up. It's all new and it's all, it's so real. It's so real. You can't not think and you can't not feel. You can try, so we got to get good at it, right? But we never learn about that stuff. So we got to learn about it. So that's what we're doing right now. Yay us, congratulations. We're doing it right this minute. So cool, yay us. We get to pat ourselves on the back. So there's a science to EQ, right? How do your synapses work? How does your nervous system work? Does your amygdala work? How does your prefrontal cortex work? All that good stuff. Great stuff. It's true. It's real. It's left brain. It's how the science works inside of your body. Excellent. Not my specialty. It's not my specialty. It's just not. I'm more into the art of EQ, and that is about how to do it. How, all right. All this stuff is going on inside of me. That's really interesting. Great. So, so what do I do with it? That's kind of my complaint about schools. As I was, I learned lots of good stuff about why things do what they do, but not how to do them. That's a different story. Anyway, so I'm more into the art of it. And I think that the science, along with the science and the art put together, is kind of magical. It kind of is. EQ is completely free, like I said, with us from birth, almost everybody. And we just don't know how to use it. We've got everything we need. We just don't know how to use it. No one ever taught us. We didn't have anybody to talk to about it. We got to figure it out on our own. And a lot of people do not ever figure it out. Never. It's so sad. I was thinking about that earlier. I was thinking, man, here I go again. Dang, emotional today. And it's okay though. I was thinking, what's one of the saddest things that in my life, the saddest thing in my life is watching people in pain, in emotional pain, and they don't know that they can do something about it. And I can't do anything about it if, I don't know, just knowing the world, so many people in the world, like Afghanistan, oh my gosh. And there's stuff happening in the United States again. Oh, I don't know, let me get into that, but very painful to watch and have no control whatsoever. So I can complain about it and be a victim, kind of am a victim in a little way, in some ways. In reality, there isn't nothing I can do about it. And so the only thing that I can do about it is shift what goes on inside of me. I can be in pain a lot and I can be really, really sad, or I can get angry about it, which I do sometimes, and that's okay. And then and let it go. That's the difference between complaining and venting. Being a victim and being not a victim. What's the opposite of not a victim? Being a victor, being successful, being in control of my life and my emotions. I don't have to go down. If you watch the news for 10 minutes, you're going to feel like it's so bad, but you don't have to go all the way down there and stay there, because I can adjust things and come back up. And man, I'm so glad I have that skill. So glad I have that skill. So emotional intelligence can teach us, this is pretty cool. It can actually teach us, because we've been working on this for a while, how to get to inner peace. For me, okay, me, that inner peace is inside of me. we can also talk about interpersonal peace, which we will some here. And that is about we, which is me and you, two people get along, just couples, mother, daughter, you know, two people at a time having conversation and being able to get along and listen to each other and take turns talking and being real and opening your heart to each other, all that kind of thing. It's really great stuff. And we can learn those tools. And then there's social peace, which is what we're doing right here. Again, yay us. We're 2-0 tonight. We are all getting along, as far as I know. As far as I know, I can't really hear you guys, so maybe you're hating me, but I assume if you're still here, we're getting along. So we're doing social peace, us right now. So yay us. We're hoping that if the theory is that if we can get enough people to be able to feel inner peace and interpersonal peace and social peace, maybe we can ultimately lead to global peace. That's the theory. We'll see what happens. It's not a quick fix, that's for darn sure, but we're starting, as was in the introduction, Sananda said, from preschool to PhD, who's even little kids get this, they get it. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah. EQ is not complicated. It is not easy either. It's simple, not easy. It's simple, but it ain't easy. For example, little kids get it. And we say, some of the basic stuff like, if you're really, really sad, let yourself cry and you'll feel better. And kids go, oh, okay. Because a lot of them don't have all this drama and all these judgments and all the shoulds about feelings and stuff. And so a lot of times you can tell kids that they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. If you're sad, cry and you'll feel better. It's like, it's in your body, it's there, it's real, it's happening. I don't necessarily want it in my body. It's okay. I can let it go through my tears, through letting it go, through meditation, something, but go in there, find it, allow it, listen to it, and let it go. They can, oh, okay. It's not, that's real simple, right? It ain't easy sometimes. So key to that, by the way, is making it comfortable to be uncomfortable. Because like if you say, I'm going to let myself be sad for a few minutes, it can be very uncomfortable, especially if you have judgments about it. But even without judgments, it can be uncomfortable. And so, but if you can let yourself be uncomfortable and allow that stuff and to, stretch and to grow, which is uncomfortable, learning something new is by definition uncomfortable. If that's okay with you, you can do some amazing stuff with your life. You can do incredible things with your life. If you have to be comfortable at all times and in control at all times, yeah, that's yikes. Ouch, right? What is EQ? What is it? It basically being smarter with our thoughts and our feelings, left and right brain, thoughts and feelings. Number one thing is it allows us to respond rather than react. And I will talk quite a bit about that. That's a big deal. Respond means you thoughtfully and emotionally decided to react or to act in a certain way. You decided to, you took into account your left brain and your right brain, your thoughts and your feelings, your EQ and your IQ, and you said, this is what I'm going to do. And you do it. Pretty cool. That's the smartest I think you can get as well. I guess getting other people's input too, maybe if you want to, but in making good decisions, we try to do our thoughts and our feelings. One of the keys to that is knowing the difference between a thought and a feeling. We'll talk more about that too. What's the difference? It's a big deal. That's really important. It's really important. So allowing us to respond, which is intelligently, or react. No, react is too much emotion. We can have too much emotion. I'm saying yay to emotions, but I'm not saying don't. I'm saying don't do too much emotion. Don't do too much. It's balance. It's about balance. Too much means drama. It means poor me. A lot of times it means intense anger and hatred. That's too much emotion. Too much. You don't need that. You don't need to be hating people. That's too much. right? It's just, you got to control that, in my opinion. You don't have to, I guess, but a lot of this is about choice too. So you don't have to if you don't want to, but you can have too much emotion, and you can, not enough logic. It goes like this, like a seesaw. When our emotions go really high, our logic goes down, right? We get all excited about stuff. A lot of times we start doing things that don't make any sense. And vice versa. If we can have too much logic and not enough emotion, that doesn't go well either. You're doing stuff that, okay, this makes a lot of sense. This is this is right. But it feels awful. It feels terrible. And you're like, no, I'm not doing that. It's too much thought. Anyway, the balance is the key. I got a graphic on that later. It helps out. We're good on the left brain. We're not so good on the right brain. Stretch it up so we can get some balance here. We need some balance. So emotional intelligence is a way to teach us the tools that we need to create inner peace, to create peace. So these are tools, language concepts, ideas, attitudes, values, goals, whatever. They're all cool stuff, but the objective is peace. If you can get to inner peace, that's pretty cool. Sometimes you can't stay there. Sometimes you've got to be able to bring it back if it's gone. How do you let it go? How do you not let it go? Peace is, I can teach you quite a bit about emotional intelligence. I'm not sure I can teach you all that much about peace, because it's yours. It's so personal. Your inner peace is so personal. In fact, if you want to put in the chat, what does peace mean to you? What does it feel like to you? How do you know? Here's what, how do you know when you're there? How do you know? So if anybody would like to share in the chat on what is inner peace to you? There we go. Self-satisfaction. Oh, that's a good one. Self-satisfaction. Oh, that's a good one. I never heard that term before, actually. That's pretty cool. So it just means you're satisfied with yourself and you're like, yeah, okay, do it. Okay. Yeah. I like it. I like it. I'm going to say that term. Thank you. Thank you. That's a good one. Anybody else? That was good. What else, you guys? What's inner peace mean to you? What does it feel like? What's a description of it like that? Freedom from disturbance. Okay. Yeah, they're saying there's a thing about peace means more than just the absence of war, right? You can be very not peaceful and not have any war, but you can be really not peaceful at the same time. So I agree with you. It's freedom from disturbance. And I think there's more to it than that, but yeah, I think you're on the right track. Inner contentment. That's a good one. Inner contentment. That's like self-satisfaction, I guess, right? Just content. You're okay. You got what you got, and you don't necessarily need or want huge amounts more. You're good. I'm good. And a very popular saying in the United States, I'm good. And actually, a lot of times it means no, thank you. But anyway, I'm good as inner contentment, not responding to any negative emotions. Well, yeah, that's well. Sorry, I'm not gonna say that's incorrect, but I'm gonna say responding. Yeah, sometimes negative emotions are real. Sometimes they're very, very real. And sometimes they're actually important, and they teach us stuff and they show us what we care about. And I'm a big proponent of negative emotions. Like I said, if you can allow yourself to feel and be with your negative emotions, that to me is inner peace. Yeah, I can sit here and cry and not be unpeaceful. Isn't that weird? And I'm not unpeaceful. I'm not. I'm just sad. I'm feeling sad, and I'm allowing my sad to come out of my body, and I'm okay with that. I'm peaceful about that. I don't know. I think our negative emotions can be a peaceful place. It's weird. It doesn't seem like that at first, but someone said Peace for me. Oh, you guys are sending these direct messages. Send the messages to everybody, not just me, please. Peace for me is staying in the present and not worrying about the future. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. We got to be aware of the future. In fact, I have this thing about we deal with our past so that we can be present in the future. Good point. And so that we can create the best future we can for ourselves and those we love. Cool. All right. So inner peace is kind of the goal to the whole thing. So I'm saying basic assumption is that and tell me if you would agree or disagree, if you would, in the chat to everybody, that if you manage your emotions, is that how you get to inner peace? Is that how you get there? Is that a pathway, if you will? Is going through our thought, learning more about our thoughts and feelings and actions, is that how we get to inner peace, do you guys think? Okay, well, I do. Obviously. I do. It's that we're studying emotional intelligence, about studying ourselves, obviously, studying studying us is going to help us learn more about us, have us be more powerful, be more successful, be able to manage our negative feelings and all that kind of stuff to get to inner peace. So, okay, so here we go. Here's a kind of a definition. No, these are the components of SEL. This was written by, excuse me, Daniel Goleman, Goleman, and he kind of popularized emotional intelligence by writing his book in 1995. I'm putting in the chat, Daniel Goleman. Boom. He didn't actually, he's not the first one who did EQ that came up with the emotional intelligence idea, but he made it popular. His book is a number 5 on the top 20 all-time books of all time. Time Magazine's top 20 books of all time. It's number 5. I think it should be number 1, frankly, but you get the idea that it was a big deal then, and it's the bigger deal now. EQ is taken off now and doing very, very well, because people are like, oh, wow, wow, right? Woo, it changes everything, really. So you starts off, I don't know why this is a circle, but it starts off with self-awareness. Got to be aware or you can't do anything. You got to be aware first. You got to be aware that you're thinking something. You got to be aware you're feeling something. You got to be aware of the outside of you so that you know what response to, what's the best response, right? Not reaction, response. You got to be aware of what's happening. You got to be aware of your environment. You got to be aware of your responsibility in all of this. You got to be aware of other people and what they might be thinking and feeling, right? Aware, aware, aware. So it all starts with awareness, and that I agree. Okay. We then move this way to self-management. Now that we are aware, what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do with your feelings and emotions? What are you going to do with your relationship? What are you going to say? What are you going to not say? How loud are you going to say it or not say it? How much are you going to base your lives on other people's opinions? That kind of stuff. That's all self-management. So once we're aware, we've got to handle ourselves. What is next one? Next is social awareness. Well, if we are aware of our thoughts and feelings, we can be aware of other people's thoughts and feelings. And the next step is relationship skills, because when we are aware of other people's thoughts and feelings, guess what? They like that. They like that a lot. So you're going to have better relationships if you give a damn about people, if you will listen to people, if you will ask them questions and care of the answer, if you will pay attention, if you will, if you will love, if you will trust, that kind of stuff. So the more you know about you, the better you can know about them, and the better you can have your relationships work out. It's pretty cool, right? And again, how much does all this cost? Nothing, none of it, none of it. It's just information. This is how you do it. That's it. Now you go do it for the rest of your life if you want to. And again, it's about choice. So if you want to. So the next one is responsible decision making. I'm not sure why it's over there by itself, but it's kind of a self-management thing, I think, actually. But it's critical because, like someone said earlier about responding versus reacting, when you if you're not using your emotions as not aware of your thoughts and your feelings as well as you could be, you're not getting all the information that you have, that your body's giving you, and therefore you can't make as good of decisions. So it goes thought, feeling, decision, action. Thought, feeling, decision, action. We have a thought, we then, pretty much in that order, we have feelings about that thought. Our thoughts affect our feelings a lot. We then decide how we're going to act. If we can decide not to act, which with strong emotions is often a very good idea. Very good idea. Don't do anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Because right now you don't need to blast your mom for what she just said, and you don't need to blast your boss for what's going on, and you don't need to scream at your kid because they did something wrong. You don't need to. You can do nothing, and that's a good thing. But you controlling yourself is the cool part, and you are making a conscious, educated, responsible decision to keep your mouth shut. Right? I'm not suggesting that you always do that, but I'm just saying doing nothing is a decision. And because you had thought put into it, you're responding purposefully to what's happening, and you are choosing not to act or to act. That's cool. Who's in charge of your life then? You are, right? You decided, right? You took into your account your thoughts and your feelings. You made the decision. You're doing the action. You're in charge. Pretty cool, huh? I'm kind of a control freak in that department, and I'm kind of proud of that because I didn't used to be so much, but I'm more controlling now about what goes in, what I do with it, and what comes out. That's kind of important. It's also called consequential thinking. It's pretty important. So actually, there's 6 Seconds is the largest EQ trainer in the world, and they have they have a bunch of assessments, they have a bunch of classes, they have a bunch of information, and some of my slides are based on their stuff. But they said they have a test called the SEI, which is Social Emotional Inventory, and it rates you on 8 different competencies of emotional intelligence, and consequential thinking was my worst. Because I wasn't taking everything into account. I was very, very afraid of the future growing up because like I said, we moved all the time, and because we're in the Air Force, and either I was moving or they were moving, and I was scared all the time. I didn't know what the heck was going to go on. I didn't know if I was going to have friends the next day or not because they're leaving or I was leaving. It was really hard for me, and so I stopped. I got this huge fear of the future. I just was in this kind of a panic. I guess it's kind of a PTSD thing. I don't know, but it's a kind of a panicky mode for years, And I used to have to go. I had to go from sixth period in 6th grade. 6th period was PE, my favorite physical education, my favorite class. I had to go out of there to go to a therapist in 6th grade. Because they were worried about me. I was not in good shape. And anyway, so I was clueless in that department. A lot of fear, so much fear. Oh man, I've been working on that for such a long time. And now, as you can see with this business, this is not an accident. This is a lot of work to get to the point where I can talk to 53 people right now and make an idiot of myself and potentially
be criticized, right? I've got to go through all those fears. Am I saying the right things? Am I saying it the right way? And what, you know, I've got an hour and a half with you guys. How do I get everything across that I want to get across? All that kind of stuff is all fear-based. And so as usual in my life, and I'm trying to get over that. So reduce the fear. What you do, by the way, is you make it more. This is how I do it. I'm not saying this is how you do it or the way. No way is the way. We say it at 6 seconds. No way is the way. We'll give you choices. You decide. You got to decide. It's your life. I can't tell you this is how you do it because I don't know. Anyway, how I do it is we got fear and we got how important it is. So when it's really fearful, when my fear got really big, then it became less and less important, or my fear was based on how important it was to me, right? If something's super important, like a test coming up, or you got a tough question you need to ask somebody, or a tough conversation you need to have, and it's really important to you, then the fear gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? The way that I combat that is to shift those and make it more important than scary. More important than scary. I'm going to put that in the chat too, because that is it was a life changer for me. Yeah, take that you off. Sorry, scary you. Scary me actually. So I adjust things to make them like, no, it's more important that I come on to here and talk to you guys and figure this stuff out and get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever, and get this information out to people. It's more important than it is scary. And that's where I'm staying. That's what I'm saying. It's still scary a little bit, but it's so important that I'm like, I don't care that it's scary. It doesn't make that much difference that it's scary. Yes, it is. I acknowledge it. I accept it. I am aware of it. And I'm ignoring it because I can, and because that puts me in control of my life. Again, there I go again. EQ gives us choices. EQ gives us freedom. It gives us power. It gives us how it can tell us how to love. We can create intimacy. We can create intimacy. We get to choose how much we open our heart. We get to choose how much we close down our heart as much as we want to, anytime we want to. That's an EQ skill, in my opinion, one of the most powerful EQ skills. So if we can open up, if we can deal, no, I didn't say this yet, but I got to, and I don't know if I have a slide on it or not. If we can deal with our negative emotions, we were talking about this earlier, then especially the big 3 negative emotions, I think I have this in there, are fear, anger, and sadness. Fear, and in my opinion, again, a lot of people disagree. I even have it in my book about, I found all these different people that say these are the core emotions, and they're absolutely right about it. And they have done research and they write books on it, and they're absolutely right about it. And none of them agree with each other. So what do you there's one of them has only 2. One of them has 12. So wow, the 2, by the way, are, what do you think they are? What are the 2? If there was only 2 emotions, what would they be? Any guesses? Fear and love. Fear and love, they're saying, which I think is a pretty cool way of looking at things. If you, whether it's anger or sadness or guilt or shame, all that stuff is based on fear, if you drill all the way down. And all the good stuff, which are love, peace, and joy, are all can say that they're all based on love, actually. So love and fear. Anyway, you get the idea. So EQ can help us get results. EQ can help us be successful. We can be successful. We can look at things and we can say, we can analyze them properly. We can use our intuition. We can use our gut level feelings that we have about whether we think something's going to turn out or not. A lot of things we can do with our emotions to help us be successful, including failing, which is kind of weird, but we can fail and do better, right? If we learn from our failure, then it's not really a failure, it can be a success, right? So we can learn from our failures and what's it called? Fail better. How about that? You can fail better next time, right? You do, right? These things didn't go wrong, didn't go well. So next time, maybe I can handle those things. Maybe some other stuff doesn't go well, but I handled those things. So I'm failing better than I did last time. It's kind of cool concept. I like it. Yeah, go ahead and put questions in the chat box. I'm watching it. So yeah, go ahead and put questions in there if you want. I don't mind getting interrupted. You see, I'm just kind of spaz all over the place because there's so much to this, you guys. There's so much to it. I mean, my main slide power presentation has 200 slides in it now, and I can't do that in an hour and a half. I can't do it in 3 hours, I don't think. And that's, I'm just still, I add to it every day. I added to it today. I just keep going. How do you develop IQ? Question. How do you develop high EQ? That's what I'm working on. That's what we're doing. I'm going to show you in just a minute the steps. There's some steps. I'll show you in just a minute. Hang in there. Where are we at? We're at 48 minutes, so we're about halfway through so far. So if I don't get your question, let me know. Okay. Meditation is one way to do it. Yep. I don't know. Meditation is a way to calm yourself. It's a way to let go of things, even at a cellular level. It's a beautiful thing. Some research done at Harvard, they showed that if you meditate properly, even 10 minutes a day, that you can heal at a cellular level. It's like the opposite of stress, right? Stress, you create tension, and with meditation, it just lets it go. It's a beautiful thing. They showed some incredible results physically on people who meditate 10 minutes a day. Physically. So that means that we're making a connection between our emotions and physical body, and that is a huge thing, ladies and gentlemen. That is a huge thing. There's a whole nother thing called ACE studies, the ACE studies. ACE stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. And those studies are showing that when bad stuff has happened to us as a child emotionally, then we're going to have really bad stuff happen to us as an adult physically. Again, connecting emotional and physical, very big deal. It's gone to the Surgeon General of the United States. It's in all of the schools now, or as far as, well, they're working on it. Anyway, they're taking it seriously, that connection, and it makes me very, very happy because we can do something about it. Is psychosexual development of individual impact emotional intelligence? Oh yeah, huge amount. Huge amounts. Yeah, wow, that's one of the bigger things that affects our emotions. And the problem is, I mean, it can be in a good way and a not good way, right? It can be in good ways and not good ways. As awareness, again, we can be aware of it and we can do something about it. But what is a big deal about that, and I'll talk about these in a minute, we call belief systems. Belief systems are big, generalized decisions that we made, usually as a child in our early development, about how life is, and about how I am, and about how I fit in, or how I do not fit in, or what's wrong with me. That kind of thing. Like, for example, I was saying I had to leave 6th grade to go to psychiatrist. How do you think I felt about myself? Oh gosh, you really got it going on, bud. That's great. How do you explain this to your friends that why you're leaving? Yeah, you're doing super. I'm being sarcastic. So I decided that there was stuff wrong with me. I was pretty sure, and it turns out actually so did everybody else. My parents and my psychiatrists, and they're like, dude. Anyway, so I decided about life, who I am, where I fit in or didn't fit in, right? That kind of thing. When we make those decisions, a lot of times as childhood, they are based on painful, a lot of times traumatic experiences. We then put them into our subconscious about what we summarized about what just happened to us. Like, say you're in a nasty car wreck, and before that, you thought you could have some control over your life. After that, you went, you had no idea that was happening. It then happened to you. You now feel like you believe that you are unsafe and that life is dangerous, and you cannot control everything around you. And it's called PTSD. That's where you go to. PTSD is often the thought, the belief system around it is, I don't have control over my life. Things that happen to me that I can't control and I can't handle. That's another thing we tell ourselves. I can't handle this. I can't handle this. You can, but it's very, very difficult. You might say this is really hard, but anyway. So it's very important about our belief systems and we call meanings too. What does that mean about you, and what does it mean to you? So no need to share PowerPoint. Okay. How to help adolescents in developing EQ, just like this. Thanks, Andrea. How do we help adolescents? The same thing. I haven't said anything that was particularly hard to understand, right? That teenagers can't understand. It's just talk to them about it. Talk to them about it. Another thing, Jayan and Prit and I did some on suicide prevention, right? Last week, September 10th was World Suicide Prevention Day. And we did workshops on that. And you know what they said? Talk about it. Talk about it. So with adolescents to develop their EQ, talk to them about it. Ask them about it. How do you handle your emotions? This is one of my takeaways I put at the end. Rate yourself. How good do you think you handle your emotions? Kids like talking about that. Most people like talking about that stuff. If you're actually interested, you can ask people, rate it 1 to 10. How are you? If you're good at it, how did you learn that? If you're not good at it, how can you learn it? What can you do? That kind of thing. And get people talking, start a conversation. How do you handle your fear? Well, I don't. How do you handle your anger? And listen to the answer. It's pretty wild. And let them explore themselves. Let them go inside and go, wow, I don't handle my anger. I go off and do something else. Like, meditation is a cool response, but it can be an escape mechanism. It can be a what's it called, where you avoidance mechanism, right? You're not really dealing with the feeling. You're just going off somewhere else. It's like drinking and gambling and the other addictions and stuff. You're feeling, but you're making a new feeling that's manufactured, that's not, and the objective is to avoid what you're really feeling, what you're actually feeling, which is why we get good at this stuff, so we can deal with what we're really feeling. Anyway, okay, so more. What else? EQ celebrates us. We gives us self-esteem. If I can deal with my fear and my anger and my sadness, I'm good. I can go. I can be open. I can be loving. I can do all kinds of things. I can enjoy myself, right? Enjoy myself. I can like myself. This morning I was listening to a recording of one of these from last week, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. I mean, I told a joke and I laughed, so that's pretty neat. That to me is self-esteem when I laugh about jokes. I was goofy that way. That's okay. So purpose for living. Some people, and then in the suicide prevention, I have one of our VP of EQ4Peace.org is he was 45 years in the U.S. Army as a leader and a leader trainer. His job was to train leaders, so he knows EQ so well. Oh, he's so sharp. And and he did suicide prevention also on the side, which is wild. And he said that a lot of people that are suicidal have lost their purpose for living. They have lost it. They never had it, and it's bad, but they don't have a purpose for living. And some of the questions that he worked with them was through this process to help them find out what their purpose for living is. And once they did, guess what? They started going, wow, I don't want to go. I need to be here. I have things to do. Like, yeah, you do. Please, you do. So it was very effective, apparently. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool, I think. So help people find their purpose for living. Help you find your purpose for living. Write it down. Put it on the refrigerator. Don't forget. It's really important. I get up in the morning and I go, I don't want to get up and I don't feel good and la la la. Yeah, but we got some stuff we got to do, you guys. We got some big things. There's a lot of people out there that are hurting. There's a lot of people that hopefully there's people you love that you can make an impact on, that you can help. So it's not just about you. It's not just about me. We have stuff to do. We have stuff to do. Teams, you want stuff to do? Let's get on the team. Get on the team. That's what Giant and Print are doing. We're all on the same team now, and we're like, okay, we've got a lot of stuff to do. Let's do it together, and it's working. It's working. We are making an impact. It's beautiful. Right this second. Right this second. That's 3 today. That's 3. We're on a roll, you guys. Better relationships, better teams, better get stuff done. And heal. That's another one. That's one of my pet projects. All right. The EQ is great for feeling good and feeling better and creating good relationships and all that good stuff for the present and the future. But means ignore what I just said. Here's what I really mean. And it's fantastic for healing. We have a lot of times pain from our past and anger and when we're a victim and guilt and shame. Oh, that's one of the things that I had to work with a lot. All that stuff is all emotions. They're thoughts and feelings. We can deal with those. And then they release. We keep them in our body. We can get them out of our body. We can change our mind. I thought there was stuff wrong with me. I thought I was unlovable. I have since been able to deal with some of the feelings that were keeping that in place, right? The sad, so sad, and all that fear I was talking about. And I was angry. I was a pissed off young man. Man, I was mad at the world. How come you got to be unsafe? How come you keep jacking me around and moving me places? And I was mad. I was mad. And I had to deal with a lot of that. But once I can move some of that pain out of the way, I can start saying, you know what? Maybe all those people were moving because they were moving and it didn't have anything to do with me. It didn't mean that I was unlovable. Maybe, right? Maybe they were moving because they were moving when maybe I was moving because the Air Force told us to. Maybe it didn't have anything to do with me. So I had to rework some of that and change my beliefs from the world is scary and I have no control and I am unlovable to the world can be scary, but I can deal with it. The world can be scary. It is for sure. And I'm going to learn how to deal with my scary so that I can kick butt. And the world's going to be scary. It's getting scarier, you guys. Man, it's getting scarier. And we're going to have to deal with that. We are going to have to deal with that. We do have to deal with it. That's why I call this is not just a nice to have skill. These are serious life-changing coping skills. Anyway, okay, so let's go on. This is a fun one. I like this one. Just wait, before I go on, kindly, excuse me, can you send me this PowerPoint? Yeah, and also some videos due to prevention of suicide, divorce. Yeah, oh man. Yeah, there's a lot on that. Why don't you ping me afterward and see if we can put something together. Ooh, a related short film. Yeah, you bet. We are actually creating one right now called The Storm Within. And I was just working on that yesterday on the, we're doing a fundraiser it's being done in India. And it's beautiful. He's done a bunch of them films before, and this one's going to be specifically on suicide prevention. And we're needing to raise some money to pay him to do that. And it's very professionally done. It's going to be great. So The Storm Within, it's exciting. It's on EQ4Peace.org if you want to go look it up. So I like this slide, left brain intellect versus right brain creativity. You can see left brain is bum, 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 black and white, in order, logical, analytical, left brain. Right brain, however, is everything else. Passion, our creativity, our freedom, our senses are on the right brain. When really bad stuff happens to us, we a lot of times will take it into the right brain, like trauma, like that car accident I was talking about, or a war, or you know, somebody leaves you suddenly, or somebody in your family dies suddenly, or you know, that kind of stuff. It's a shock to your system. It like goes in your right brain because that's where your feelings are. And what my mentor, Doc Downing, I got a picture of him here later, says is right brain in, right brain out, meaning that sometimes it's difficult to talk that stuff out, that to just do talk therapy, because it's a picture and it's a sound and it's a smell. It's on your right brain. You have to feel it out. You have to cry it out or yell it out or go into those feelings and let them come out. It's hard to do just left brain talk therapy for trauma, for especially if they're, you know, well, if it's, I was gonna say if it's a lot of feeling on it, like, but that's the definition of trauma. So anyway, right brain and left brain. And again, the key is to use both sides, put them together. One is not better than the other, put them together and use them both. Can you please furnish some research on emotional intelligence? What are the best universities to undergo with research on emotion? Oh boy. That's a good question, especially in India. I don't know. I don't know. I would have to, maybe Jayan can help you with that, or Prit can help you with that. But I would just have to Google it and start looking and talk to people. I actually don't know. I'd be interested in that subject though. If you find some, let me know. Please let me know, please. I know I'm doing a conference for a university in Punjab University that's in Chandigarh, and they teach emotional intelligence and they're big on it. And they've had 9 conferences, international conferences, something. I was keynote in 2019, right before COVID. I got to come there in India to Chandigarh and to Nepal in Kathmandu. I was also keynote there too. It was so great. It's so great. And then we went to Turkey. It was really cool. And India was amazing, you guys. I really had such a wonderful time, and I really looking forward to coming back. We're going to start, and we talked yesterday about another conference we're going to do, but in Nepal at least, and the one in Chandigarh is happening too, but I don't know. Things are getting worse again. COVID's wise. So we'll see how that's going to go. Anyway, here's my little guy that I was talking about. We're pretty good at our left side, we're not so good at our right side. Pick up the right side so you can fly. The guy on the left's going to be spinning around in circles. Guy on the right can soar, right? What we're think, feel, act. This is really important, you guys. Think, feel, act. This is what we manage. This is what we need to control. This is what we need to get good at, is our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, right? This is a 6-second slide again, it's the number 6seconds.org. They are the 6 seconds, by the way, they're saying that scientifically 6 seconds is very science-based. And they are saying that scientifically, if you have a strong emotion, it goes, and if you can just wait 6 seconds, it can settle down. You can settle down. And so in that 6 seconds, if you react, you're not responding. In that 6 seconds, you're not responding, you're reacting. And if you do, a lot of times it does not go well. You say stuff you didn't want to say, and you do things you didn't want to do, and it doesn't go well. But if you can just chill for 6 seconds, then you can settle back down, and you can allow, because right when your emotions go up really high, your logic goes down. But if you just can wait, it's kind of like that count to 10 thing that actually works. If during that time you let things go. Someone told me the other day, I said that works, and they're like, well, I don't know, because if you have that strong emotion and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you didn't change anything except for counting to 10, then it doesn't work. That you didn't do anything. But if you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then you got a different deal, right? Now you're letting your the synapses settle down. It's called an amygdala hijack. You ever heard that term? Daniel Goleman term, beautiful thing, very good to know. I'm putting it in the chat if I can spell amygdala. I think, yeah. Okay, and that means that your emotions took over and you are not in charge anymore. You are not in charge. Your emotions are in charge. You're a victim of your own self. It's an ugly thing. Try not to do it. Try to do it as little as possible. Oh, wait, I did amygdala hijack and then I sent it right to somebody in particular singly. Let me try it again. There it is. Mine. Yeah, my mind is blowing. Thanks. Thanks, Dr. That's very cool. I'm having fun, as you can tell. I love this stuff. I'll talk about it all day long if I can. Okay, I should have put this way earlier. I'm sorry. This is slide 16. It should have been like 3, but this is I said over and over, awareness is a big deal. Acceptance is the other big deal. Well, awareness is the first big deal. The second one is acceptance, and acceptance is so huge. I was making this huge list of things that if you can get good at acceptance, wow. If you know, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe like Buddhism and Hinduism are big on acceptance. It's a huge word, and what I'm talking about is accepting our negative emotions, accepting ourselves, accepting that our thoughts created those emotions, accepting our environment, accepting other people, accepting the world, all kind of stuff we can accept, and it's all up to us. We cannot accept if we don't want to, right? You can judge, and you can bully, and you can reject, and you can hate. You can do all that stuff. You don't have to accept if you don't want to. I find that it's quite beautiful, and that we can, and that we do. If we can accept, then we can do some great stuff. And it only takes this long, right? Awareness. Oh, I'm feeling something. Okay, I'm feeling it. Okay. Or I can fight it and deny it and try to get around it for the rest of our lives if you want to. But it takes a second to go, oh, okay. Okay. That acceptance, that's how it looks. Okay. All right. And then once we're aware, okay, I see it, and okay, I'm okay with it. I accept it. What are you going to do about it? Do. That's action. Do. What are you going to do about it? Before it was a thought and a feeling. Now it's an action. And if you want it to be, again, action or no action, and no action is a good thing. No action is a good thing sometimes. So again, that accepting emotional responsibility is the key to this whole thing. If you guys can give me just a second, I'm going to tell my dogs to be quiet. Hang on, they're in the other room. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. They have great imagination. I don't know what they're barking at. We never can see it or feel or smell them or anything, but they're pretty sure something's there to be barked at. Anyway, so we accept emotional responsibility. Please do that if you take nothing else from this. And when we're born, we have pretty high EQ, pretty high. We have, I have a 2-month-old granddaughter, which is pretty amazing. I got to see her yesterday, and she's just a wonderful, sweet little thing. She hardly ever cries, ever. And she smiles. I was touching her cheek like this, and she's just so great. She's great. It's a big, huge smile. You can't not smile at a baby smiling. It's I guess you can, but yikes. So we're born with really high EQ. People, our kids mostly are born with pretty calm, right? They're pretty mellow. They're pretty loving. Actually, they naturally go toward the mom or toward people. They have pretty high EQ. When they feel something, they feel it, and then they let it go, right? They don't stay mad, and they don't stay sad when they get their needs met. Usually they will stop being mad or sad and just let it go and go back to being calm and good, right? So what that means is it's very good news, you guys. It's very good news. We're born pretty calm and pretty loving and pretty peaceful. What happens is over time, it's downhill from there and things happen to us and we become less calm and peaceful and loving. But what we can do, if we can get some of the negative feelings off of it, if we can get those off of it and their judgments off of stuff, then we go back to our natural state, which is calm and loving and peaceful. That's pretty cool, right? So we don't have to manufacture that stuff. We just have to learn how to deal with our negative emotions so that we can quite naturally go back to our positive emotions. Then that's really good news, don't you think? I do. I think that's really good news. It makes it simpler. It makes it more doable. It makes it, we can focus better. We don't have to make peace. You don't make peace, you release stuff. I mean, you create it to some extent, but you know what I mean? It's not an effort thing. It's not okay, damn it, I'm going to be peaceful. Ready, go. And I'm trying real hard to be peaceful over here. I don't know if it works that way. Anyway, so we're born with high EQ. Sometimes traumas mean they're going downhill quickly. Something happens to the kids. Sometimes they're in a dysfunctional family and it's still going downhill, but not quite as fast. And it's just normal life of being a kid and being in school and being bullied or being criticized or not being able to deal with our emotions and not learning about things and not knowing what the heck's going on inside of us. Then we end up shutting down and slowly going downhill, just perfectly normal. So, but it doesn't have to be that way. We can change it. We can change it. We can do better. We can do better. It's called positive mental health. We can do better. So we are born with it exactly here. We are born with only a few fears. The way I was told, again, this is hard to prove, and there are many different theories on this, is that we were born with two fears, only two, fear of falling and fear of loud noises. Bam, right? We get startled. So loud noises and falling, if you start to be dropped, the kids panic a little bit, or they feel fear. When even little tiny babies. So here's the good news. Oh, and you're not born with hardly any anger. I don't know about hardly any anger, right? So here's the good news. Ready? That means that whatever you are afraid of now and the angers you have now, you made them up along the way. They're yours. That's the meaning belief system thing that I was talking about earlier. We decided that that's something that bothers us. We decided that's something that scares us. And we can adjust that. We can do things with it, even though it seems like it's all natural. Like if you're afraid of spiders, for example, really afraid of spiders, but a spider never bit you or anything. Well, how come you're so afraid of them? Anyway, we can deal with our feelings and our what are those called? Phobias, big feelings, phobias, and we can deal with that stuff. It's pretty neat. It's just a fear. So again, really good news. Again, it puts us more back in control of our lives, is that we know that most of our fears and all of our anger is we made them, and we learned them and we can unlearn them. Yeah, we can unlearn them, right? So, and I'm saying, again, this is disagreed sometimes. I'm saying that our thoughts mostly come first. Thought, feeling, decision, action, in that order. Thoughts come first. If we think that we are safe and that things are good, we're going to feel safe and we're going to feel good things. If we think we're not safe for various reasons, we're going to feel not safe, in that order. And so the cool part is that we can adjust our thoughts pretty, not easily, but we can adjust our thoughts. We can change them. We can have a thought and go, you know what? I don't like that thought. That's not working for me. I don't want to, I'm not going to glom onto it. Somebody put it as, it's like our thoughts and our feelings are like waves in the ocean. They just keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming. And we go, oh, there's one I'm going to grab onto. That's the one we decide to surf. I like that analogy. So the other ones, you just let them go. You just let them go on by. So if you have a thought and you go, I don't like that thought, you just let it go by, make a new thought. And you go, well, I was thinking that I'm not safe, that these people are out to get me. Well, I'm going to try a new thought on, well, maybe I am safe right now. They may be doing what they're doing, but I'm safe. I'm okay right now. And so I'm changing my thought. And guess what? I'm probably going to feel better. Greatest discovery of our generation, that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. As you think, so shall you be. Woohoo. Thank you, Sarisha. Appreciate it. So it's really, really good. Really good to have a very large feeling vocabulary, so you can describe yourself and what's going on inside of you to yourself especially, but to other people as well. So it's good to know all kinds of words like embarrassed and anxiety and depression and all that good stuff. They're really good to have a good vocabulary. And here's a whole bunch of them if you want. It is also good to have to sum it up. We have found into, like I said, the big three negatives. Is it fear, anger, or sadness, or some combination of those? You can feel more than one thing at a time. Fear, anger, sadness, or is it joy, or getting to joy, peace, and love? So the big three positives. So if you're trying to change things, then you go for the what negative feelings am I feeling? What's making me afraid? Fear has an object. I should put this in my presentation. Fear always has an object. That means that you're afraid of something, and that of something is usually a picture or a sound or a smell, something in your senses. And your fear is future based, right? Anger is present or usually past based, because you're angry about what did happen. You're not usually angry about what is going to happen because you don't know what's going to happen yet. So you're angry about what did happen. And sadness is present and past as well, but it changes. It changes to know how, when you're looking at them and dealing with them. So big three. So, okay. Again, I should have put this one earlier too, probably. So here's how it works. Stuff happens outside of us. This is the respond versus react thing also. But stuff happens outside of us. Stuff happens. It just does, right? If we're going to get out of bed in the morning, stuff's happening. Even if we don't get out of bed, stuff's happening. What we do is we have a thought and a feeling about what happened. So the happen thing is outside. When we have a thought and feeling about it, it's now inside. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's now yours. It's yours. It was your thought and it was your feeling about it, your emotion, it's your beliefs, it's your meanings that you put on it. Where two people can see exactly the same situation and completely different reaction or response to it based on their thoughts about what happened, their thoughts about what stuff that's happened to them in the past, all that kind of stuff. So they're ours. They're ours. This is where it comes inside and it's yours. Thanks, Manoj. They're yours. They're ours to deal with. The people outside, the events that happen outside of us, probably don't know what's going on inside of us. And even worse, they probably, if they did know, they may or may not care what's happening inside of us. So it's our thought and our feeling about that. It's our fear, it's our anger, it's our sadness, ours. What are we going to do with it? So what are we going to do with it? Here we go. Step 4, awareness. It's actually step 1, but you know what I'm saying. Be aware. So, okay, it happened. Be aware. What happened? Mindfulness. What's going on? What's happening inside of me? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? Awareness, right? 2, acceptance. How about that? Again, okay, I got it. All right, I hear you. I'm seeing that. I can see where what's going on. I can see and I can accept that that's what's happening. Doesn't mean I like it. Doesn't mean I agree with it. Doesn't mean it's a good idea. It doesn't mean it's fun. That's for sure. I got this thing about acronyms and hashtags. It ain't always fun, but it's got to get done sometimes. So that's acceptance. So then we had a thought and a feeling, and then we evaluate the thought and the feeling. Do I like that? Is that working for me? Do I want that thought and feeling? Do I want that? I don't want it, right? Evaluate it. That's a good one. That's a bad one. I don't want it. And then I make decisions based on my thoughts and my feelings, which is, does it make sense? And does it feel good or feel right? Right? Those two things. So I'm now deciding what, based on what I thought and felt, what am I going to do what am I going to do with this? So, and am I going to take some action? And if so, what action, right? That's the thought, feeling, decision, action. And we're on the action part. So now we're going back outside, by the way. An action usually is seen by someone else, or it happens on the outside. You can have an action of changing your mind about something. That's actually an action too, and nobody can see it, but you get the idea. This is now, most of our actions are outside of us. We then have a bunch of actions which become behaviors and who we are and what we do. And guess what? That's what we get our results in our life, is based on what we do, what we decide to do. So no matter what happens outside of us, bottom line, we have the power to control what happens inside of us. To me, again, that is like the best news that I've ever gotten in my life. And I'm very, very, very excited to be telling you guys this is such good news. We have so much bad news happening these days. This is the best news on the planet. We get to control ourselves, what's going on inside. Here's another way of putting it. Our thoughts and our feelings are inside. Our actions and our results are on the outside. Go, ready, go. You're in charge of the inside. What are you going to do outside? It's up to you. Again, to get back to positives, we deal with or release the negatives. I should have put this earlier too. Self-awareness and mindfulness. I only got 8 more minutes, so I am going to start going faster. Bigger thing is what to do about a problem. This is really cool, you guys. Is what do you do about, you got a problem? What are you going to do about it? That's an action. What are you going to do with it? Aha, now that's a whole different deal. What are you going to do with that? That's how inside of you. It's your thoughts, your meaning, your thoughts and your emotions. What are you going to do with that? All right. Positive mental health is about knowing what you feel, right? Awareness, accepting what you feel, and then if you decide to, expressing your feelings in productive, acceptable ways, meaning you do not have to blast people. You do not have to vent all over people. You can release your feelings without them even being there, without them even knowing about it. We have this exercise called the empty chair empty exercise. You put a chair in the middle of the room and there's nothing in the chair, and you stand up in the middle of the room or next to the chair, and you picture whoever you're pissed off at or who hurt you, you picture them in the chair and you tell them what you want to say. You let them have it. Basically, you take the emotion that's inside of you and you get it out of you. It can get onto them or not, but there's nobody in the chair, so you're doing it by yourself. So you're venting, you're releasing, you're allowing stress, you're allowing the feeling to release from your body. That's how you deal with negative emotions. We call it feel it to heal it. Feel it to heal it. Very big deal. I'm going to put that in the chat because I'm not sure if I'm going to get to that slide or not. But this is one of the keys to happiness, in my opinion. It's one of the keys to EQ. It's one of the keys to having good relationships. Feel it to heal it, meaning if you have a feeling in your body, let yourself feel that just for a minute. It only has to be just for a minute, but your body is like, oh, thank you. Because we keep our body from feeling all kinds of stuff. And that's not cool. That is not cool. And our body does not like it. And that's those ACE studies and all the stuff about the going from emotional to physical is you blocking the flow of the emotions, and they get stuck in your body, and your body is like just crashes. It's in a bunch of different ways. It's awful. Empathy, number one skill of emotional intelligence. We have a huge group on Facebook with 270,000 people in there, something ridiculous. And they very, very, very active. And they ask the question, what's the number one thing about emotional intelligence? Empathy. That's giving a damn and caring and being able to imagine what somebody else is feeling. Empathy is actually a guess, but it's an important guess. And empathy starts with you, and it starts with you having empathy for you. That so it's tough sometimes. It's tough and it's scary out there. That's okay. And that's okay. And you can deal with those emotions, right? Because it's real. And that's called empathy. That's self-empathy. So start with you. Be nice to you, and you'll be able to be nicer to other people. You understand. It's the action of understanding, the ability to understand, and the ability to sense other people's emotions. Again, it's a guess, but it's important. There's different types of empathy. Interpersonal communications, interpersonal peace. Oh, okay. So this is about not just inner peace, but interpersonal peace. I'm not going to be able to get much time in here. Again, safety, 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 emotional safety is key to relationships. Listen to people and don't judge them, and allow them. And here's one of the biggies is when somebody starts crying, for example, you don't try to get them to stop. Don't try to get them to stop. In fact, try to get them to keep going. Keep going. What else? That's the big question I ask. What else are you sad about? Once you're being sad and you've allowed yourself to open those floodgates or whatever, and you're there, get it all. Let's go. Let's get it all out of there. That's that feel it to heal it thing. Don't try to stop them from being sad. To help them be sad, be all the way sad until they're not sad anymore. And then it's like, oh, wow. You can do that. You can help, and you can do that for them. You can do it for you. You get the idea. Ability to open and close your heart. I already said about that. Communication skills is stop or shut up, open up your heart and listen and love. That's how you listen to people, and people will tell you stuff. Wow. Wow. If you shut up and listen to people, they will tell you stuff that is unreal, and you will be the safest person on the planet to them if you will be quiet and listen to them. Sometimes you have to ask them a question to get them started, but if you just be with people, they just, man, try it. They love it. That's one of the, wow. Everybody, school, work, and home, everybody around you, get good at listening, and you listen for feelings. A lot of the times we get stuck in the details when someone's trying to tell us something and they're trying to vent and they're trying to get their point across and have somebody care about what they're saying. And we get all involved in the details. The details don't matter most of the time. What did you feel about that? Well, I was scared. That's what matters. Help them with that, and you are going to be their hero. If you worry about the details and you're like, well, you should have done this, or you start giving them advice right away. Well, don't ever do that again. That kind of stuff. They don't need that usually. They may ask you for advice, but you can ask them, is that what you want? But most of the time, in my opinion, in my experience, people just want you to listen to their feelings and acknowledge them and accept them and validate them. And they're like, wow. And they feel, and they just open, they're just like, oh, thank you so much. You are so awesome. It's great. And you don't really have to do much at all. In fact, sometimes it's better if you don't do anything, just be quiet. Anyway, boundaries are a big deal. What's okay with you, what's not okay with you, and your boundaries are fortified with your anger tool. We have a toolbox, our emotional toolbox. We get good at being angry. We don't have to, we are getting our our anger tool out of our toolbox when we need it. And but which means that in order to keep our boundaries, and what that means is we do not have to walk around being angry all the time, because whenever I need to be angry, I can go into my toolbox, pick up my anger, and right, I can use it. I can use it as much as I want to, and then I set it back down and go back to not being angry. And what's that called? Peaceful. All right. No put downs, name calling, sarcasm, judgments, threats, none of that when you're having emotional stuff. And talk about yourself. Feelings. Talk about yourself. You know about you. You don't know about them. It's not you did this and you did. I felt this way when you did that. Try that. I believed, I thought, I expected, I would like, I suggest, I know about me. I don't know about you necessarily, right? So you want to stay out of arguments, use I more often. Boundaries, I already said that. I already said that one. Oh, here's speaking of, here's Doc Downing right here in the middle. They are doing anger work. This is what we do, like feel it to heal it. This is the workshop that we taught for 30 years, 35 years, whatever. And we're trying to get back to it, but it's really hard to do on Zoom. This is hard to do on Zoom. But so this is Amy, and she is dealing with her anger. This is Glory. That's her mom right behind her holding the belt so that she can be angry as her body needs to be. And this is Tom right here, who's holding the pillow for her because she's being angry. She's venting her anger. Difference in complaining and venting. She is venting, right? And these guys are supporting her. Go, 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 more. They're not trying to stop her. They're trying to encourage her and to do more, to get all of it out. And after she does, when you know when you're done being angry, because you usually burst into tears, and that's a wonderful thing. That's a good thing, and that's what's happening. This is called a group hug. If you've never had one, a real one, it's really easy. A lot of people poo-poo them, but they're it's a pretty wonderful experience to have a bunch of people accept you and let you be, and you can feel whatever you want to feel, and they're hugging on you. It's pretty neat. And here she is 10 minutes later or whatever. Look at her face. She dealt with her anger, got it out of her body, and sometimes you can feel better permanently from that. Permanently. Okay, so here's some resources real quick. I know I'm over time. These are important. These takeaways I mentioned earlier. Accept emotional responsibility. Biggest one. You can skip the other ones if you want, but you're in charge of you. Okay, your thoughts, your feelings. They're in charge of you. Do it from here on. Not some of them, all of them. Okay, live EQ. Learn about it. Learn some more about it. Learn about yourself. Learn about what's going on. Learn about what other people are going. What's going on for them, and you will have so much better of life, in my opinion. And then teach us, share it with somebody else. They don't know. They don't know they don't know that they don't know. So they're not looking for it. So yikes. So we got to jump up and down, all right, about it. Look at the last part. With great power comes great responsibility. What movie is that from? I love that line. It's one of my favorite lines. It's a good movie too. What story is it? What movie is it? It's good, right? If we have the power to deal with our emotions, we have great responsibility to teach other people about this. So share it. You say, what I do is I say, have you ever heard of emotional intelligence or EQ? And I asked everybody, people in the grocery store, somebody, I'm just in the locker room the other day, all the time I'm asking people, and I don't even know them, but what have you ever heard of emotional intelligence? You get some great answers. And if they say, if they have, then you say, what have you heard about that? You're just inquisitive. And if they haven't, you said, well, what do you think that means? What do you think that means? Emotional intelligence. I say it slowly like that. And they come up with some great answers, and you got a conversation going. That is fantastic. So the question earlier about how to deal with them, adolescents, try that. Have you ever heard of emotional intelligence? Or in schools, it's called social emotional learning. If they had it in schools, or they are, if anything to do with it in schools, most of the time it's called social emotional learning, SEL. It's not called EQ, and they may not use the word emotional intelligence, but they know what social emotional learning is, and that's what we want to talk about. So learn some more about EQ, decide that you're going to make this a priority, please, and that it's something that is important to you and is worth taking your time, like we just did for the last hour and a half, and focus on that, to learning about yourself. Do you EQ? I do. Here's a cool concept called emotional yoga. I think where's the slide on that? Here it is. In yoga, you go into a position and hold it, right? You go into a position and hold it and hold it and hold it, even when it's uncomfortable. Why? Because it makes us stronger on many levels. Yoga is pretty magical, right? Right? And how much does yoga cost? Same as EQ. Nothing. Emotional yoga is about going into a feeling, not to a position, but a feeling. It's not physical, it's emotional, like sadness. Like I was saying earlier, when start crying, keep crying, keep it going. Don't stop it. Learn about it, listen to it, feel it, find it in your body, let yourself know it. And what is it trying to say to you? What do you want to do with it? What is it trying to say? Yeah, if you want to cry. Oh, here's one. If you cry and get no relief, you probably have anger also. If you anger and you get no relief, you need to cry. Pretty simple. Again, not easy, not easy. Very simple. Okay, woo, last slide. Talk to me. Let's be friends. Hang on. Come help us with our nonprofit. It's really important. We're trying to get it into all the schools. That's a lot of schools. It's working. It's going into schools because teachers and schools know that they need to teach kids about their emotions, or they're out of control, right? Or they're disengaged, or they're depressed, or whatever else is happening. It's because they don't know how to deal with their emotions a lot of the time. And so teachers and schools know that they want EQ, that they want SEL. They know that. And so they know that they don't have it, they don't have the money for it, or they don't have the time for it, they don't know how to work it in, but they know they need it. And that's a good thing. Parents, not so much, don't know what we're even talking about. And bosses in work are starting to find out. They're starting to go, damn, it makes a huge difference in healthcare, in customer service, in caregivers, etc. It makes huge difference. And so businesses, it's working. Loyalty, leadership, success, accountability, communication skills, all that stuff is EQ in business. So we got a YouTube channel, plenty of videos on there, free EQ stuff if you want, and let's connect on, there's my email and WhatsApp. And so there we go. So I hope you, I'm done. I hope you were able to take some things away from this. I hope it was enlightening for you, and you appreciate how incredible emotional intelligence can be, and work it into your life and in your love and into your family and everywhere. You're welcome.
Sorry, muted. Sir, your mic is muted. Mr. Matt, sir, your mic is muted. Kindly unmute.
Sorry. Yeah. I was saying thank you for the thank yous. This feels very good. Thank you for the thank yous. It's nice.
Thank you very much, sir, for the session. For the participant, you have any question, you can unmute your end.
A lively day. All right. Yeah, it will be that. I got a bunch of stuff going on today. It will be lively.
You have unmuted
thanks,
your
Andrea.
end or just hand raise.
All right. Good. It's all pretty simple, right? This is, I didn't say anything that was particularly rocket science, right? It's all pretty simple, but we don't talk about this stuff. So we don't know. We don't know. Yeah, right. I know. It's sometimes it's maddeningly simple. Like, that's all, that's the problem. Like, yeah, that's all. Good stuff. So look up emotional intelligence. I think one of the questions earlier, I said, remind me at the end if I didn't get to it. I forget what it was. Not the one about adolescence, but oh, just how do you do high EQ is that one. Yeah. So I hope I answered that question, because that was the whole point. My whole point is how to do EQ. So it's awareness, acceptance, action, big part of that, and know, accept, express. When is EQ developed? About 9 months before you're born, right at the very inside, way at the very beginning. It's when we come out that's the problem. When we start messing it up, because we got it. We already got it. It's downhill from there. Like it's
Yes,
we mess it up, but we can fix it. We can fix it. Jan,
yes,
say it again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, participant, you can unmute your end. Yes, Olan, sir.
Did you have a question?
Good evening, sir. It's really a wonderful session.
Oh, good.
And,
Great.
you told that the peace is a priceless gift of God.
Oh,
The peace is a priceless
wow.
gift of God. That you proved in this class.
Nice.
Beautiful presentation
Nice.
and more contents. Okay, sir, we love
All
peace.
right.
We love
Yeah, yay.
so
Yeah, we
much,
do.
so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Priceless gift of God. I love that. That's great. I'm going to put that in the chat. Nice. Great. Anybody else?
Yeah, any more
Other questions
participants?
or comments? Okay. Yeah, got a hand up. Go ahead and unmute and.
Hi, Matt.
Yes, sir, continue.
This is Balaji Sundaram. We are friends on your FB group, along with Dattatreya, John Powell, etc. We keep interacting there. It was a really beautiful session that you have put in. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much for this excellent session, boss. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right. So what's your favorite thing? Anybody? What the biggest takeaway? What sticks with you?
Well, can I?
Yes, sir, continue.
Yeah. Now, the biggest takeaway is for me being feel to heal, and then the 10 commandments of healing and the types of empathy. And that's something was very interesting, and I need to know more about it. I'll come back to you on this. It was just a slide that was shared, but the types of empathy, yes,
Yeah.
I need to like to have more, because we do work on suicide preventions, and I have a center myself doing this suicide preventions as per Befrienders India's Befrienders Worldwide's norms, sir. So we do practice some empathy.
Wow. Here it is.
Hi, yeah, this is the one. 3 types of empathy, and that will be very interesting for me.
Great. Can you take a screenshot of it right now, or? I don't know. You can't put it in the chat.
I'll take a screenshot. That'll be easy for me. Fair enough. I'll do that. Yeah, I'm doing it.
Okay,
Done it,
great.
boss. Done.
And this symbol, so this symbol down the bottom, that's 6-second symbol. And so this was from 6seconds.org. I should put the resource or where I got it. But this is
No,
from
this
6
will not be
seconds.
reused at all. No, take one thing for granted from me. It will not be reused. Ours is an absolute free organization. We don't want to encroach upon anybody's copyrights at any cost. Thus, we are wanting to spread the word like death by suicide has to be reduced. And that's exactly the job that we are trying to do here. And ours is a free organization giving a free service.
Okay.
Stay rest assured, it will never be used.
But as far as I know, 6 seconds wants you to share their stuff. Just if you leave that symbol on there, then you're all set. But they want us to use their stuff. Just like I do. All my stuff
there's
is,
no
please
problem.
take it. Take it.
I know the complications of anything that is being shared just like that. You can't simply copy and share. It'll be a legal problem for all of us. And it's for sharing to people around and trying to talk about it, explain it, especially to practice empathy, which, as you rightly said, is the most difficult job. Even if you do it for about 30 years, it will not be right. I'm doing it for the past 32 years, but still I'm learning.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Good. Keep learning. I'm planning on keeping learning till I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have.
We normally tell that.
You don't have to.
Normally, all people,
my dad has a saying: "Some people live and learn, and other people just live." Right?
I love it. Right? That's a beautiful stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Sudha said, "Each one teach one" is a great takeaway from the session. Fantastic, great. That's probably one of the ones I would like for you to take away is please tell any.
Yeah, no, in fact, I'm doing it, so that's not a takeaway.
Good. Well,
since I'm already doing it, so it's not a takeaway for me.
Keep doing it. All right. So,
Matt,
so for
I have
you,
a question.
Each one. Oh, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
During the presentation, at some point you talked about the adverse childhood experiences, right?
About what? About what?
Adverse childhood experiences.
Oh, yeah. I did.
So, I believe it is a study conducted on 17,000 adults to just you know,
That's where it
to
started.
understand the impact of adverse childhood experiences on the later adulthood, right? So
Yep.
as you can,
Yep.
as we can see from the study, more and more adverse childhood experiences added in someone's life, it will be more difficult for them to, you know, have successful relationships, emotional control, or whatever. So how to treat such individuals, Matt? I mean, people having adverse childhood experiences.
Just a second. I'm putting it in the chat. That's why I'm. Okay, so yes, adverse. Yeah, so look it up. I have a bunch of stuff on it. I need to put that in my 200 slide PowerPoint, and it's going to get bigger and bigger because I've got a bunch of stuff on it. But there's, how do you deal with it was your question. The reality, just if anybody's interested, is that all it is 10 questions, 10 yes or no questions. That's it, 10 yes or no questions. And they're asking things like, did your parents get divorced? Was there abuse in your family? Was one of your parents an addict or an alcoholic? Did somebody go to jail in your family? That kind of stuff. Potentially big negative emotional traumatic experiences, but they're just yes or no questions. And what they did, what he was describing is that 17,000 people is they were connecting with they were connecting how many yeses you got. The more yeses you got were directly related to how many huge physical ailments you had as an adult. Oh, I said child, as a child, it's physical ailments as an adult. Cancer, diabetes, heart conditions, all that stuff, all the big, nasty, negative physical ailments. The more yeses you had, the more likely you were to have huge physical problems. Now, for me, I would say your question was, how do you deal with that? Well, awareness, acceptance, action, I suggest. Ready? Awareness. Okay, so be aware. That's what the 10 questions, that's one of the best things about that, is that people didn't even realize, most people that took that test had never told anybody that stuff before, and just them writing it down and acknowledging it was helpful for them, it turned out. And then secondarily, they then took a next part of that test, and they would have a live nurse input person or intake person ask the questions out loud and listen to the answers. And that then took a whole nother jump. What they were looking at is doctor's office visits. And so they found that if they asked those 10 questions, that the number of doctor office visits went down 11% just by asking them these 10 questions. That's incredible if you think about it, money wise and time wise and skill wise and all that. And then if they asked them out loud and somebody listened to the answer, they went down 34%. That's a third of the people that were going to the doctor decided not to go to the doctor because they didn't need to anymore. Isn't that wild? And it seems outlandish, but it happens to be true. But they don't do much about what do I do with this? To answer your question is, what do I do about it? That's why I think the feel it to heal it thing works so well. CBT therapy works well. EMDR works well. Stuff that you deal with the emotions directly or indirectly, but you deal with the emotions, you become aware of them, you accept them, and then you deal with them. That's the action. And you get them out of your body and out of your system and out of your belief systems and all that stuff, so that you can be clean and clear in the future. And your body says, thank you. I didn't want to carry this crap around inside of me. You're making me carry it around. I don't want to carry it around. Will you please let me let go of it? And then you feel better and you don't get big diseases. And that's the theory. That's a little bit hard to prove, but it's in my opinion, that's what's working. Does that help?
Yes, any more questions? Sir, kindly stop the screen share.
You're welcome.
Okay.
పర్సనల్ స్పేస్ చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఇది.
Yes, Sudha ma'am, you can.
I'm trying to copy the chat. You can't copy it out. Do you know how you save the chat? Is there any way to do that? So some nice, you guys said some nice things. I wanted to save it.
And I think no more questions in the chat box, and
I think there's a setting in Zoom where you can go in the chat box in the more, and then it says save chat. But I think you must have it turned off, Cheyenne, on your Zoom setting.
yes, Sandha ma'am, we can
But
conclude.
anyway, all right.
Yeah.
Anything else? Are we good? Take it away. Take it, use it, live it, love it. Love yourself, love other people, listen to people, listen to yourself, stop judging. And know that emotions matter more than we ever thought possible. They matter a lot. And teach other people about it, please. And help us get it into schools.
Yes, Sandha ma'am, we can conclude.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thanks
Thank you,
again,
Mr.
Cheyenne. I
Matt.
appreciate it. Thanks,
Yes.
Prit, for having me. It was very fun. And
Thank you, Mr. Matt. It
we'll,
was a
if you
wonderful
guys want
session.
some follow-up or something, let me know. I'm sorry. Oh,
Yes, continue.
Thank
ma'am.
you, Matt.
very good.
It was a wonderful session. We enjoyed thoroughly. We thank you from India, Hyderabad. Thank you. Good night.
You're
Have a
welcome.
nice day.
Yep.
For us, good
Good.
night. For you, have a nice day.
All right.
ఆమె
Thank you.
అమెరికా చూసుకునే వాళ్ళే.
The best thank you. I think
ఎవరన్నా హైదరాబాద్ ఇండియా అంటారు కానీ